Am I the asshole for not buying my boyfriend another birthday gift after he rejected the original present? I'm 25 and I have been with my boyfriend for over 3 years. His birthday was last week. Him and I are not into the same music, so we don't go to many shows together, but when we have gone together, it has been very fun. My boyfriend loves bands. I don't really know how else to put it. He listens to a lot of rock music from these bands I've never heard of. Imagine Dragons are coming to our city this summer. I know who they are and I know they're a band, so I figured this would be an awesome present for my boyfriend. I got us the tickets and was very excited. My excitement was short-lived. It turned into sadness very soon. Here is a summary of how the gift exchange went down. I bought him some other smaller things but put the ticket confirmation in an envelope with the card I made for him. He opens the envelope and I'm met with the, what? I explained to him that they're coming to town and I thought it would be a lot of fun to go together and that I want to get more into the music he likes. Then he responds, "This is not the music I like. Just because a band has instruments doesn't mean it's what I like." I'm honestly very sad at this point, and I asked him if he really wouldn't have fun. He says, "Honestly, you should just try to get your money back. I don't want to go to this." I say, "Okay," as I'm literally holding back tears. He then says that I could try to resell the tickets. He goes on his phone and Googles concerts in the area around that day and says we could go to one of these shows instead. I snapped at him. I said I really tried to do something I thought he'd like and that it's extremely hurtful the way he responds. He says, "We have been dating for 3 years. How did you not know that I don't like that music? I wouldn't get you tickets to the Travis Scott concert for your birthday because I am well aware you hate rap. You should have known I wouldn't like this." At that point, I've actually started crying. I just said I wanted to do something together and he didn't have to be so mean. He tried to take back everything he said and he was like, "We can go. I'm sure it will be fun." I told him, "Fuck no. I know how he really feels." He is now upset, saying that it's basically like I got him nothing for his birthday since I won't resell the tickets to get different tickets and then I won't suck it up and go with him after he made it very clear how he feels. So, am I the asshole? Let me give it to you plain and simple, okay? I like listening to K-pop, right? I like BTS, I like Blackpink, I like Super Junior, I like Mamamoo, I like a bunch of people, okay? I'm just going to use this group for an example. Don't come at me. Let's say, I listen to BTS all the time. Love, 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 love. And you buy me tickets to go to a 17 concert. I don't listen to 17. I don't know any of their songs. I don't know any of the members in the group. And you're just like, well, you like K-pop, so you must like this, don't you? Especially if you're my significant other, that would hurt my feelings. And I'll be like, you don't even know what groups I like. Like, you could have been sly with them, be like, hey, like, what do you think of Imagine Dragons? Or how would you like to go to this? Or something. And if they're like, I don't even know that group, you would have saved yourself all the trouble. 100% your fault. Duh.
Never been to Prague, and the trip was last minute, so I had little time to prepare. My travel partner had dumped me in another country, and I was determined to make the best out of my trip by visiting a place I'd never been. Upon arrival at the train station, I visited the accommodation office and asked for a hostel not far from the center. In my early 20s, winging it was part of the fun. These days, I'm far less adventurous. The hostel they sent me to was a sprawling, crumbling, slate gray Art Deco building. The inside was probably beautiful at one time, but by the time I checked in, it was full of shabby, mismatched furniture and cheap stained carpet. Most of the light fixtures were broken, leaving everything but the lobby dark and gloomy. It smelled of standing water and dust. I found my room, a double, for $12 per night and made note of the fact that I had a roommate. She wasn't there, but on her side of the room, there was a suitcase, dress neatly folded across the back of the plastic chair, a scattering of makeup containers on the beat-up desk, and a stack of German fashion magazines on the bed. I spent the afternoon exploring Old Town Square. I purchased some Czech crystal for my mom and painted eggs from a street vendor for myself. I also made reservations for a sunset dinner cruise for one.
Oh, nice.
I know, ideal.
Wow.
At around 6 p.m., I returned to my room to shower, change clothes, and unload my purchases. When I left my room about an hour later, there was no indication that my roommate had returned at any point during the day. After the cruise, I stopped at a tiny bar and had a glass of wine. I heard horror stories about the dangers of Prague, but I felt no more trepidation than I did in any other large city. Sure, the cobblestone streets, backlit Gothic architecture, and winding alleys made me think of Jack the Ripper and Dracula, but in a good way.
In a good way.
I don't know how.
What?
It was nearly midnight when I returned to my hostel, so I was surprised to find that my roommate still hadn't returned. This wasn't uncommon though. Backpackers are a fickle lot. She could have gone on a short overnight trip and just left her stuff behind, hooked up with a guy or girl, and was holed up at their place. So I was surprised, but not concerned. I took another shower before bed and was surprised to find that things in the room had changed upon my return. Her bed was neatly turned down, the magazines had moved to the nightstand, and the dress dress was gone. The strangest thing, though, was the addition of a pink silky nightgown spread across my bed. Maybe she thought she still had the room to herself? I didn't see how. My shopping bags, clothes, and toiletries were in plain view. I gently moved the nightgown over to her bed and then settled in for the night, as I wrote in my journal. I assumed she was in the shower or somewhere nearby, so I expected her to return shortly. After about an hour, though, her side was still empty. I needed to use the restroom before I went to sleep, so I made one last trip down the hall. The building was unusually quiet. There weren't the regular sounds of chatty backpackers, the clinking of glasses, or music that would normally leak through the walls. There was ... nothing. I found myself practically tiptoeing back. My room was near the end of the hall, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the corridor was darker than before. The few working lights were blinking, and it reminded me of a fun house. A tightness began to fill my stomach, and I subconsciously quickened my steps. There wasn't a soul behind me, yet I kept glancing over my back shoulder, convinced I'd see someone gaining momentum upon me.
Oh my God, I don't like this.
I was floored with relief as I flung open my door, but it didn't last long. Everything was exactly as I left it, except for the silky nightgown, which was now back on my bed. Sleep came in fits and starts. I left the lamp on for a while, still convinced my roommate would be right back, but the shadows it cast made the room even spookier. It was too dark with the light off. I'd finally slipped into a deep sleep when I suddenly heard the door open. A man stood in the darkened doorway, the hall light behind him showing just enough for me to see his contorted face.
Stop.
Quote, "I didn't mean to," he sobbed. "You have to help me."
Oh my God.
Too confused and disoriented to be scared, I sat up, scrubbed my eyes, and reached for the lamp switch. But once the room was lit, I saw that the door was closed. There was no man.
What is happening?
I quickly bounded off the bed and went for the door. It was locked. Nobody could have entered without a key. And the hallway, empty. I passed the rest of the night fully clothed, sitting up in bed and with the light on.
Yeah.
Though I'd paid for 2 more nights, at 7 a.m. I gathered all of my stuff and went down to the reception desk to check out. "By the way," I said to the 20-something receptionist, "my roommate never returned. I'm a little concerned." She picked up the room key, looked at it hard, frowned, and then glanced at her computer. Quote, "What room were you in again?" When I repeated it to her, she looked back at her screen. Quote, "Ma'am, that room's been empty for 3 weeks, and it's been cleaned since then. We only have 6 people in the whole building. The hostel has since been renovated and is now a luxury hotel." The end.
There was no roommate.
There was no roommate. So, like, whose stuff was that?
Oh my God.
Boyfriend's brother got me pregnant and now I don't know what to do. 3 months ago I started dating this new guy. He was so sweet and good looking. He took me to meet his very rich family right away. I walked into their beautiful house and his brother came right up to me and gave me a kiss. Now let me say this. My boyfriend and his brother are almost exactly identical. They are both extremely good looking. They're both super muscular and really good shape. They both have long brown hair. They both have green eyes and tan skin. I mean, they are virtually perfect looking. Here's the difference. My boyfriend is so sweet, while his brother is more of a bad boy. Flirts with me in front of his whole family. And they all think it's hilarious, even my boyfriend. But here's the problem. The more I visited their house, the more I realized I was getting butterflies every time I saw his brother. And it's like his brother knew it. He would look deep into my eyes while we had conversations. He always looked like he was about to kiss me. One day my mother-in-law decided to take me shopping to Bloomingdale's. She ended up buying me a $2,000 necklace. These people have money. When we got back to the mansion, I decided to put the necklace on. But as I was struggling, my boyfriend's brother decided to help me out. Slowly put the necklace on me. Then he started smelling my neck. Then he started kissing my neck. And then he started kissing me and we started making out. I couldn't help it. Part 2 is up. That's when my brother-in-law started kissing my neck. Then he made his way to my mouth, and we started making out, passionately. I physically couldn't stop myself from kissing him. After we kissed for a minute, we realized we were in the kitchen. Anybody could walk in on us. That's when he grabbed my hand and took me outside by the pool. He took me behind the pool house, and then we just started kissing more. We were back there for like 20 minutes. So my phone rings, and it's my boyfriend. His brother. I push him off, and I run back into the house. For the rest of the night, he just kept staring at me, and I basically just tried to avoid his gaze. We didn't talk about the fact that we kissed at all for like 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, I found myself alone in their house again. He comes up to me and starts trying to kiss me again. But this time I did have a little more self-control. He did something I never expected. He picked me up straight off the couch, threw me over his shoulder, and took me to his bedroom. Then he started kissing me more. And again, I gave in. I couldn't help myself. It's like I physically can't stop myself from touching him. He kissed on his bed, and then it happened. Yep, we did it. It was amazing and magical, but I instantly felt remorse. Let me clear something up though. I am still very, very attracted to my boyfriend. I mean, if anything, I would have rather done it with him, but there's just something about his brother that I find intoxicating. I instantly felt sick to my stomach. I left his room and went back home. My boyfriend called me and asked me why I wasn't waiting for him at his house. I told him that I didn't feel sick, so he came over and brought me chicken soup. I just did the dirty with his brother and he brought me chicken soup? You can imagine how guilty I felt. 2 weeks later, I wasn't getting my period. So I took a test and it turns out I'm pregnant. And I'm pretty sure it's his brother's. I broke the news to him and his family that I'm pregnant and they're so happy. He proposed to me and we're engaged now. His brother, on the other hand, still tries to kiss me. But he just got a new girlfriend. We'll never tell the truth though. Or should I? Is it weird that my boyfriend keeps asking for feet pictures dipped in peanut butter? My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months, and within the 6 months, I realize he has a lot of weird fetishes. He's completely obsessed with my feet and always wants to touch them. He also loves it when I wear black stilettos, but lately he's become more demanding. We see each other on the weekends because we live about 2 hours from each other. This means he's always asking me for pictures. But now it's gotten to the point where he's asking me to send him pictures of me dipping my feet in different food. For example, chocolate sauce or peanut butter. And the worst one, mustard. I mean, I want to say yes to all of these things. And when I say no, he gets really angry. He threatens to break up with me and says that I'm not fulfilling his needs. He slept over at my place the other night and I found him looking at really weird stuff on the internet. Like a lot of weird feet stuff. I can't even describe it, it was so disturbing. But I do love him and I don't want him to leave me. Should I just give in and send him the feet pictures with the peanut butter? Or should I stay strong and say no? What should I do?
I, 17, female to male, am trans and came out to my family a few months ago. All in all, everyone has been supportive, although I believe my mom was a tiny bit bummed. She said that she would always support me though. She just needs time to process all of this, which is honestly painful, but not the reason why I'm here. My mom got a tattoo with my sister's name and my dead name after I was born. It's a huge tattoo with a unique design that incorporates her and my dead name. It covers most of her arm and she's really proud of it because my older sister designed it and gifted it to her for her birthday. Obviously, constantly seeing my dead name is kind of triggering for me. Therefore, I told her that she needs to remove it. She seemed shocked and told me that she's too old for longer tattoo sessions. She hasn't gotten a tattoo in years because of that. She was also diagnosed with depression and such and uses it as an excuse for not having the energy to change it anymore. I don't really believe her, but whatever. Now she's often trying to cover it up with clothes, but I feel like it's not enough. Just acknowledge that that name is still there, it haunts me, but she refuses to change it. We had a lot of fights because of it, and she said that she's really trying to hide it, but it's part of her body that she's in love with, because there's so much history and love for her children in that tattoo. I can't really relate, because I don't have any particularly significant tattoos. Now, my birthday was a few days ago and some family came over, and the issue came up, because my cousin was showing off her new tattoo and someone asked about my dead name tattoo. My mom got uncomfortably silent and excused herself and went to the kitchen. So everyone started asking me what that was about, and I told them that I wanted her to remove the tattoo, but she doesn't want to. My sister also doesn't want her to, because she believes it would look really awful, since the entire design is attached to the names and the only way to cover it would be just to make her entire arm black. Anyway, I didn't actually plan for that reaction, but my cousin, who can relate because she's queer, for some reason got furious and went after my mom and screamed at her for being so unsupportive and accused her of being transphobic. Which I don't believe, although it was nice to see someone get angry about the tattoo because my cousin was finally saying some things I was feeling, but I didn't want to put it into words. My mom then had a panic attack and left the house. She's now staying with my grandpa, and my dad and sister are angry at me for making some of my family gang up on her. Am I the asshole for telling my mom to remove and change the tattoo?